The sea looked calm that morning, almost merciful, its blue surface hiding the cruelty that waited beneath history's waves, because what the Barbary pirates did to captured European women was not just a crime of the past, it was a wound carved into human memory, a reminder of how easily innocence can be torn away when power has no conscience. Before the sails appeared on the horizon, before chains replaced prayers, before names were stripped down to numbers, these women were daughters, sisters, mothers, dreamers who believed the world was larger than fear. If stories of human dignity, kindness, and second chances matter to you, please pause for a moment after this introduction to like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from, because remembering together is how history stays alive and compassion stays awake. Anna Whitmore was only 20 when her life broke in half. She lived near the coast of southern Europe, where the smell of salt mixed with bread baking in stone ovens and the sound of church bells marked the hours. She believed the sea was a promise, not a threat. On the morning her village was attacked, she was carrying water back to her family's home, thinking about nothing more dangerous than whether the sky would bring rain. The ships arrived like dark thoughts, fast and sudden, and by the time screams replaced the gulls, cries, the world she knew was already gone. She was taken with others, forced onto a vessel that smelled of iron and despair, her hands shaking as the coastline faded, her heart pounding with the terror of not knowing if she would ever see land again. The journey across the sea was not marked by days and nights but by fear and silence. The women were crowded together, clinging to one another for warmth and courage, sharing no words but understanding everything. Anna learned quickly that captivity was not just about chains, but about stripping away identity. Names were ignored, tears were meaningless, and hope itself felt like something dangerous to hold on to. The pirates treated them as property, as spoils of conquest, denying them dignity and safety, reducing human lives to objects of trade. What was unforgivable was not only the physical suffering, but the deliberate attempt to erase who these women were, to make them forget they had ever been loved or free. In the city where Anna was taken, stone walls rose high and unforgiving, and the air carried the weight of countless broken stories. She was separated from some of the women she had leaned on during the voyage, and that loneliness cut deeper than hunger. Days blurred together as she endured hard labor, strict control, and the constant fear of punishment for the smallest mistake. She learned to keep her eyes lowered, her thoughts hidden, because even hope felt like a risk. Yet inside her, something stubborn refused to die. She remembered her mother's hands brushing her hair, her father's quiet laugh, the warmth of her home, and those memories became a quiet rebellion. Among the captives was Elizabeth Moore, older and visibly worn by grief, who carried herself with a strange calm. Without words, her presence reminded Anna that survival itself was an act of defiance. The women supported each other in small, almost invisible ways, sharing scraps of food, offering a steady shoulder, whispering prayers when darkness felt endless. They could not change their circumstances, but they could choose not to become empty. Each sunrise was a test, and each sunset was a victory simply for having endured another day without losing their humanity. Over time, rumors spread of negotiations, of families and distant nations trying to buy back their people. Hope returned in fragile pieces, easily shattered but impossible to ignore. Anna struggled with the fear of believing again, because hope had already betrayed her once. Still, when her name was finally spoken with purpose, not indifference, her legs nearly gave out. Freedom did not come as a triumphant moment, but as a quiet release, like a breath she had been holding for years. She left behind women who were still waiting, and that guilt stayed with her, heavy and unresolved. Returning home did not erase the past. Anna's village looked the same, but she was not. She carried invisible scars, memories that surfaced in the quiet of night, moments when the sound of waves made her chest tighten. People welcomed her, yet few understood what she had endured, and even fewer knew how to speak about it. Healing was slow and uneven, filled with setbacks and silence. But Anna chose not to let her suffering define the end of her story. She began helping other survivors, listening without judgment, reminding them that what was done to them was unforgivable, but it did not make them broken beyond repair. Years later, Anna stood by the same sea that once stole her freedom, watching the horizon with steady eyes. She understood now that remembering was not about reopening wounds, but about honoring those who suffered and those who did not return. The Barbary pirates' cruelty could never be justified, but the strength of the women who survived stood as a quiet answer to that darkness. Their resilience was not loud or celebrated, but it was real, and it mattered. If this story has touched your heart, if it has made you feel the weight of history and the power of human endurance, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, share, and comment, because your engagement helps keep these stories alive and reminds others that compassion still matters. And before we close, please write a comment sharing your thoughts or what this story made you feel, because every voice adds meaning to remembrance. Anna's story is not just about the past, it is a reminder that even in the face of unforgivable cruelty, the human spirit can survive, rebuild, and quietly insist on dignity, leaving us with the responsibility to remember, to care, and to never look away again.